I want to bring in Venezuelan opposition politician Leopoldo López, who joins me now. Leopoldo, great to have you back on the show. I hope you are doing well. Let me start off with what has been weeks of tension, almost being at the brink of a strike. President Trump, meantime, as you've probably heard, not ruling anything out. I think he said, let me quote what he said, I probably would talk to him, talking of Maduro. I talked to everybody. And then yesterday at the White House, Leopoldo, he said he wants to talk. I wonder, where do you see this going? Is this an ultimatum, you think, Leopoldo?
Well, it's very important for everybody to know is that the Venezuelan people have decided for change massively. We had an election a year ago that elected Edmundo González Urrutia under very difficult circumstances, and he got 70% of the vote. If the Venezuelans, like myself, that are living in forced exile, 10 million Venezuelans would have been able to vote, it would have been 90%. So this is what we, the Venezuelan people, want. We want change. We want it peacefully. We want a transition to democracy, but we welcome the pressure that has been put by the Trump administration, because we clearly understand that Maduro is, in fact, the head of a criminal organization. I spent 7 years in prison and was sentenced to 14 years of imprisonment for saying that Maduro is linked to the narco activities in Venezuela. And this was 12 years ago. So we do know that this is true. We do know that Maduro runs the state as a criminal organization that has destroyed the country and that has forced a massive migration. We understand that migration is a big issue, as it was mentioned before, but the best migration policy towards Venezuela is to bring back democracy. People will stop leaving the country and millions of people will come back to Venezuela.
And on that point, Leopoldo, do you think President Trump should really he has not yet started talking to him, but do you think President Trump should engage with Nicolas Maduro? Do you think the Maduro should be given a chance to board a flight and to leave Venezuela? Or do you think the time for talking should be over by now?
No, I think you present the choices very well. I mean, this could be a negotiation with those two choices, whether Maduro decides to stand down peacefully, recognize that there is a transition to democracy that has been chosen by the Venezuelan people, or that there will be credible threats and that there will be consequences. So this is a very different type of negotiation engagement than what we've seen in the past. Maduro has manipulated for many times negotiations. There has been many mediators, the Vatican, ex-presidents, Norway, the OAS, and they've all led to the same spot where Maduro and prior to him, Chavez, win time and then stop any meaningful process. So Maduro is not credible to engage in negotiations. Only if these are in the terms that you're presenting, they will be a way to make the transition smooth and to make the will of the Venezuelan people prevail, because that's what it's all about, the will of the Venezuelan people for change.
Given what you've just said, Leopoldo, and what we know about Nicolas Maduro over the last 13 years, do you think that he will get on a plane, that he will remove himself, that he'll leave open the way for Edmundo González Urrutia and for Maria Corina Machado? Or do you think he'll have to be forced out?
Well, for the first time, there is a very credible threat. There were many negotiations in the past, as we said before, but now there is a very credible threat. There is a very credible commitment from the U.S. administration that has been framing adequately the problem of Venezuela as Maduro being the head of a criminal organization. And there is clear commitment by the U.S. administration to dismantle this criminal organization that is leading the Venezuelan state as of now. So we hope for transition.
Do you think, Leopoldo, do you have a sense of whether the Maduro regime is cracking, which is what we're hearing, of course, from Maria Corina Machado and Edmundo González Urrutia? What are you hearing in terms of his inner circle? But this is always a problem, right? If his inner circle doesn't begin to crack, then you cannot dislodge him, because that's what matters right now, isn't it?
Yes, and I think that is for sure happening. I am not a military. I'm a civilian, but I spent 4 years in a military prison. So I can tell you that the military in Venezuela are Venezuelans, that they think and vote the same way that the rest of Venezuelan people do. However, they are under great surveillance and pressure. But in the past, there has been moments where the military cracks, and this pressure buildup, I think, could lead to two things. One, a crack within the system, within the military that supports Maduro today, and two, massive protests, peaceful protests, as we have seen in the past. And these will be the two components that could lead to a transition to democracy.